you see the floor at this point, and where do you see the upside?
Yeah, well, let's put this all in context real quick. So, over the last decade, Bitcoin has drawn down 30% or more 21 different times. Of that, 7 of them have been 50% or more. That's like having a global financial crisis every year and a half for a decade. So, Bitcoiners are used to this. Now, who's not used to this are the people who are coming from Wall Street. They're not used to this type of volatility. Global financial crisis, there is literally people still fearful of that happening again. And so I think that what we're watching is as the rotation of the holder base happens, these new people are very, very fearful. We're going into end of year. There's things around bonuses. People are trying to figure out, should I actually sell this asset that I thought I was really excited about? And I think that's putting some downward pressure on the price. Now, in terms of that drawdown, given that there's been 21, 30+% drawdowns, I do think that a 35% drawdown that we've seen from the all-time high is pretty healthy reset. And I think that there's a question in the industry. Is this going to be one of these very large drawdowns that we've seen in terms of these bear markets of 70, 80%? Or is this simply something that is more normal? And we should expect this reset to then provide a new base, and then we go back to all-time highs over the next couple of weeks or months. Long time, and every year I try to end up with more Bitcoin than I started the year with. This year I will have accomplished that, and also I will end Q4 with more Bitcoin than I started Q4 with. And so I think that if you've been doing this for a while, you understand that this is part of the volatility. The volatility is actually a strong signal. It's not a negative. I actually would be worried if Bitcoin's volatility essentially was zero. You need volatility for the asset to go up. Bitcoin is up 240x over the last decade. It's about a 70% compound annual growth rate. We are not going to continue to have that level of growth moving forward. But if we get something that is 20, 25, 30, 35% compound annual growth rate for the next decade, you're going to outperform equities. And I think that's why a lot of Bitcoiners are very excited about this asset as part of their portfolio. I think that going into this bull market, people thought, okay, Bitcoin will be the lead in terms of movement on a sequence basis, but the alts historically have outperformed in these kind of euphoric blow-off tops. We haven't really seen that as much as I think people expected. And so instead what we've seen is that Bitcoin has remained kind of the dominant asset. A big part of that is that Wall Street embraced it first. Now, over the last couple of weeks and months, we have seen Wall Street start to take a look at ETH and Solana and some of these others, but I do think that there is still a kind of category creation, a category winner in Bitcoin as a store of value. That is probably the largest total addressable market. And so I think that Bitcoin will stand alone and it will continue to be the king of the crypto market. Doesn't mean the other things are going to go to zero. Doesn't mean that investors aren't going to go put that in their portfolio. I just think that Bitcoin is able to kind of obtain a very special place in a portfolio. And that's why you see so much capital flowing in. And that's why you see Bitcoin dominance continuing to be so high compared to the other.
Following a very volatile week, Mackenzie Sagalos has the numbers for us. Hi, Mac. Hey, Morgan. So the crypto market is coming back strong, moving in lockstep with the NASDAQ 100. Bitcoin trading near that 89K mark, and crypto-pegged equities are rallying alongside it. Miners, exchanges like Coinbase and Robinhood, and even digital asset treasury plays are pairing last week's losses. Tom Lee's Bitmine Immersion and Ether proxy is up more than 18%, outpacing Ether's own 5% gain on the day. Really a reminder of why that crypto treasury trade gained traction this summer. Now, this rebound follows a shift in spot Bitcoin ETF flows, which flipped positive on Friday, the first real sign that institutional buyers may be stepping back in after weeks of record redemptions. The question now is whether that marks a true bottom or just a pause in a broader unwind. One potentially troubling trend, capital rotating into digital asset safe havens as a form of protection from market volatility. New data shows stablecoins now make up 9% of crypto's total market cap, which is a 2-year high. And analysts say that that is a classic bear market signal.
Just how important is Quen to Alibaba?
Turns out pretty important, and really this Quen chatbot breakout, it reinforces the pattern that Wall Street is starting to appreciate in the AI era, and that is that real breakout products come from companies with the full system. That means models, distribution, infrastructure, data. It's a proof point for Alibaba, much like Gemini 3 was for Google last week, that the company has something that its rivals do not, and that is a full stack or an end-to-end system. Look at how the two companies compare over the last year, both basically dismissed early in the AI era, but two of the biggest winners this year, nearly doubling their stock price. And when it comes to having a complete ecosystem, they both have their own models, they both have cloud businesses, established products with tons of data, and custom silicon, though Google's TPU is much further along here. Now, Alibaba reports tomorrow morning, Dom, and the question for investors is whether the same bull thesis powering Google can now travel to Alibaba. As we showed you, shares have doubled this year, both those companies, but the valuation, there's a difference here. Alibaba still lags at about 23 times forward earnings.
And we have Trump signing the executive order Genesis mission. And we know that's the beginning of the AI genes, bringing all this technology together. An AI platform that integrates government data and national laboratory resources to accelerate scientific discovery and innovation. The mission will involve the Department of Energy, national labs, universities, and private sector companies to develop AI-driven tools for fields like energy, national security, and biotechnology. And we know the EU has the same plan. So what does that tell you? It's an agenda to move us to this fourth industrial revolution, where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. Let's get into the video. Welcome to the Crypto Teacher.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Pomp on CNBC. And of course, Pomp is not giving us the full truth on why the market's pulled back. At least Tom Lee gave a little bit of it. He didn't get a whole, but at least he gave some. And we know the only people that can shrink liquidity that fast, that's right, is the big banks. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And yes, we definitely had volatility, but it's normally over a period of time. But this time, this was a crash. Maybe short term, but it was definitely a crash. Anytime you shrink liquidity that fast, that's exactly what's going to happen. But we know the Fed is about to come in, so I definitely see us moving back up. And the NASDAQ moved up big today, and that was for no reason. So we know nothing but an algorithm. And anytime we get a whole lot of volatility, people definitely move into stable coins. Let that volatility leave if you're not a trader, and then they come back in. Now, we know traders love volatility because anytime you get that big of a swing, you're definitely going to make a lot of money. But this time, it was the bots making all the money. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Now, we have Alibaba and Alphabet look like the same company on paper, but we see Alibaba's valuation is not crazy, and plus the market cap is $383 billion here in the U.S. But when you look at Alphabet, you're looking at $3 trillion, almost $4 trillion. That is insane. But they're definitely about to let some air out of this AI bubble because it's time to build. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Jack Lew. If you have the NWO book, you understand. Says if there is a shock, we're not prepared. And what we've learned from history is that all shocks are nothing but simulations. And there's definitely going to be a big shock in order to bring in this fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have China going after Japan over Taiwan. And Japan has no reason and no resources to fight China over Taiwan. Remember, guys, this is all a movie. Get your popcorn, sit back, and let it play out. But we hear the drums getting louder, and as well as in Venezuela. And remember, all this is a distraction in order to get us moved over to this digital economy. So while the people looking one way, they're running the money in the back door. And remember, the crypto teacher tells you. And we know the NWO is building the big casino. And we have Chauncey Billups again shown, but we haven't seen any of the mafia guys. And all this betting and throwing games all of a sudden is being reported. And that's just about in every single sport. So we know there's a plan behind it. So again, get your popcorn, sit back, and let it play out, because it's all a distraction to get us moved over to this fourth industrial revolution, where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
The view that we're about to go over a cliff, but a shock could come and we're not well poised to handle a shock.
Cancel this trilateral meeting between the culture ministers of Japan, South Korea, and China that was slated to take place this week. And Takaichi was asked about, whether she had any chance to speak with China. She said there was no chance to do so, but she's not closing the door to dialogue. And in fact, Japan is still calling for dialogue and also dismissing China's claims that Japan is changing its position on Taiwan, calling it completely baseless. And this comes after China had submitted a letter to the UN in order to rally support for its position, saying that it's vowing to take resolute self-defense if Japan dares to intervene militarily. So tensions are escalating, and in the meantime, the Chinese embassy in Japan also wrote a text on X saying that China has the authority to defend itself without needing UN approval by citing this enemy status clause, but Japan saying that that clause is essentially obsolete by this point.
Basketball Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups appearing in a Brooklyn courthouse this morning. This part of course, the bombshell story around mafia ties to illegal poker games. Contessa Brewer has been following the story for us and has the latest. Contessa.
David, the most notable suspect here is Trailblazers coach and Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups, named with 30 others in a searing indictment that outlines a complicated illegal poker ring arranged by the mob that cheated players collectively out of millions of dollars. Billups arrived this morning for the hearing in federal court in Brooklyn. There you're seeing as he's arriving, surrounded by cameras there. He's facing charges of wire fraud conspiracy and money laundering conspiracy. Prosecutors say Billups functioned as the celebrity lure for poker players who were cheated, that there were cameras in the tables and rigged shuffling machines, even X-ray, to cheat the system. It's expected to be a long hearing with alleged co-conspirators lined up to face the judge. Many are alleged members of the Gambino, Genovese, and Bonanno crime families. Investigators say they threatened their victims, the unsuspecting players, with violence and extortion. Billups is on leave from his coaching position in Portland. The Trailblazers team leaders say they are cooperating with investigators, as is the NBA. Billups is expected to plead not guilty in court today. Former NBA player Damon Jones also indicted in this poker scheme and is also in court today. He's also expected to plead not guilty. He's been indicted in the sports betting scandal as well, with Miami Heat player Terry Rozier, who's due in federal court in Brooklyn December 8th. All of this, of course, leading to more questions over integrity in sports.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain. an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books, is time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.